Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Senator Mitch McConnell announced this term will be his final venture in politics. And for some, it seems like the cleaning never ends as folks wash away the mud left by the flood.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning. My name's Amelia Lee here with you on this Friday, February 21st. We are almost to that weekend and it is 5:31. That means it's time to check on in with meteorologist Megan Dusmal. Megan, we're in a bit of a first alert weather day today, but you said earlier that we've got a little bit of a break from these back-to-back weather events we've experienced recently.
Yes, we do. We just have to deal with the cold. That's all. We're under that first alert weather day for today, as well as, any ice that might still be on the road from what we have been seeing. Taking a look at those current temperatures, and it's no surprise you're seeing those temperatures in the single digits because we had some very cold overnight lows. Right now we're looking at 3 degrees in Somerset and Irvine, 5 for London and Williamsburg, and as you're traveling towards Manchester, 7 degrees. Now we do have a little bit of wind as you're traveling more towards the northeast. You can take a look at Jackson, Prestonsburg, and Ashland at 7-mile-per-hour winds, which is just going to make those already cold temperatures feel even colder. In fact, as we take a look at that, feels like temperature -2 degree feels like in Jackson. So bundle up this morning. It's definitely crucial for you to do so because it is cold. As we head into the afternoon, we'll see much warmer temperatures. Now, I know you're looking at this and saying, Megan, 30s are not warm, but yesterday we saw the 20s. So I'll take this 10-degree warmer weather as we're heading into the afternoon. But thankfully, as we're going through the next couple days, we'll see 10 degrees warmer for Saturday and Sunday in the 40s. And by the time we get into next week, we're looking at 50 degrees on Monday. So we'll get better as we're going through the next couple days. Here's a look at the next couple of hours, though. As we do start off cold, we will warm up into those highs, hitting the high temperature around that 3 o'clock hour for today. Amelia.
All right, thank you, Megan. Well, 7 times Kentuckians sent Senator Mitch McConnell back to Washington. Now there won't be an 8th. Yesterday, on his 83rd birthday, the Republican announced he will not seek re-election in 2026. The decision comes less than a year after he decided to give up his leadership role after the November 2024 election. He was first elected back in 1984 and says he intends to serve out his term ending in January 2027. Here's a snippet of what he had to say yesterday about the announcement.
7 times. My fellow Kentuckians have sent me to the Senate. Every day in between, I've been humbled by the trust they placed in me to do their business right here. Representing our Commonwealth has been the honor of a lifetime.
The Republican Party of Kentucky says the Commonwealth's relatively small delegation will carry on a legacy of being heavy hitters in Washington. Kentucky lawmakers are reacting to the announcement.
It's immeasurable. It's going to be missed. It will take a long time to replace that.
I think for people in the Republican Party, many of them owe much of their success to him.
Congressman Rogers issued the following statement about Senator McConnell. Quote, Senator McConnell's retirement announcement marks the coming end of a historic era of dedication, service, and leadership that has catapulted Kentucky forward. His deep-seated conservative values and unparalleled respect for our great nation's Constitution and the institutions of our democracy have held our nation on the right path together. We have empowered Kentucky, focused legislation through the Senate and the House for many years, and I'm grateful for his invaluable partnership over the years. I wish him the very best on his birthday today and in the years ahead. Lawmakers discussed more bills in Frankfort yesterday. Senate Bill 60 would define and expand legal safeguards to protect Kentuckians' religious freedom. It says government actions cannot substantially burden a person's religious beliefs. And if the government violates someone's religious freedom, they could be entitled to financial compensation. The bill passed the Judiciary Committee and now heads to the full Senate. A House committee talked about a bill known as Baby Maya's Law. The bill is named after an 8-month-old who was found dead inside her parents' home in Ohio County. Known as House Bill 574, it would allow the state to intervene when a child is born to parents who already have children in someone else's custody due to neglect or abuse. The bill passed out of committee 12-1 and now heads to the full House. Yesterday morning, Governor Andy Beshear hosted another update in Frankfort. The governor did not report any new deaths during his briefing, but social media confirmed that a person from Livingston County died, increasing the death toll to 15. He says more than 180 state highways were still shut down in the briefing. Governor Beshear also mentioned more than 6,500 folks are without water and more than 45,000 people remain under a boil water advisory. In a significant step toward recovery for those impacted by the recent floods, the governor announced a $6 million grant for the Housing Development Alliance. This funding will be used to build 32 homes in the Skyview High Ground neighborhood in Perry County. HDA Executive Director Scott McReynolds says they aim to begin construction in April.
These are being built in response to the 22 floods. However, the way the money is structured is people who were impacted in this most recent flood can, in fact, apply for a home up there. So we really encourage everybody who thinks they might want to relocate, wants to find out more, to go to that Housing Can't Wait website.
After floodwaters recede, the real challenge begins: cleaning up and preventing mold. Housing Development Alliance Executive Director Scott McReynolds says removing all water damaged materials, including drywall, insulation, and flooring, is critical. Once those are removed, allowing the home to dry completely before rebuilding is just as important. Fans, dehumidifiers, and even heaters in cold weather can speed up the process.
What we saw after the last flood was several months after people had repaired their house, they begin to smell that musty, that kind of mold smell, that old mustiness. Again, some people are pretty allergic to it, and it can cause some health problems. And unfortunately, at that point, the only way to remediate it is to tear out everything you put back and clean it and then put it back yet again.
McReynolds also warns that using bleach is not enough to stop mold from returning. He recommends using a mold prevention product that soaks into woods and prevents future growth. He says homeowners should take the time to do it right now to avoid costly repairs later. Many folks in Lee County are also in cleanup mode. Floodwaters damaged homes, businesses, and county officials' offices. In Beattyville, water got into the building where the ambulance service and coroner's office sit. Deputy Coroner Kenneth Lewis says thankfully they were able to get all of their important equipment and records out in time. He says they only recently moved back into their office after repairs from the 2021 floods wrapped up.
We just barely got back in here about 3 months ago officially.
Patricia Cole with the ambulance service says it's devastating building back only for the flooding to affect folks in the community. But she says they will work as quickly as they can to get back on their feet. The Hazard Independent School District hosted a flood drive at the Roy G. Eversole Gym. Superintendent Sandra Combs says the district immediately reached out to staff and families to assess needs, then set up a distribution center for cleaning supplies and food. Community members came together, donating supplies and volunteering to assist with cleanup efforts. With so many still in need, organizers continued sending out supplies as quickly as they came in.
We're all family, and we just work very hard trying to make sure that we're all taken care of. If a neighbor needs something, we're going to make sure they have it. If our students need something, we're going to make sure they have it, whatever it takes.
Combs says their work isn't over as donations continue to roll in to help flood victims across the region. Lowe's is also helping flood survivors. On Saturday, Kentuckians can pick up buckets filled with recovery items. More than 100 buckets will be available at the Pikeville, Paintsville, and Hazard locations. Lowe's will also set up a disaster response trailer at the Pikeville store to rent one-time use tools to clear debris and repair damage. We have more about this story on our website, WYMT.com. The Appalachia Reach Out Mission Distribution Centers is filled with donation for those affected by floodwaters, including in Martin County. Donations of essential items and the helping hands of dozens of volunteers, including the National Guard, were at the Inez Free Will Baptist Church. Those helping with the effort say it's really the entire community that's helping itself. And this is just one of several distribution sites set up throughout Martin County.
Seen personally here is we had folks that's come in this door that's been flooded themselves, sitting here, they don't have nowhere to go, and saying, I'm here to help. And that's the greatest thing about living in this county and living in this Appalachian region, is that folks just love people.
Volunteers say if you want to donate to one of the distribution centers in Martin County, they are still in need of cleaning supplies. In Knox County, crews responded to a house fire. If you look at your screen, there's an image of the fire. Firefighters with the Barberville Fire Department were called to a home on Kentucky 3439 with reports of someone possibly being trapped inside the home. When crews arrived on scene, they were able to find the victim and remove them from the home with minor injuries. It took roughly 2 hours to put out the fire. A woman is facing charges after police found drugs in her possession in Laurel County. The incident happened Wednesday night when police pulled over 51-year-old Rhonda Mullins a few miles away from London. During the traffic stop, police found a large amount of meth in her vehicle. Police say they later found a weighted scale and other paraphernalia at her home. When we return, Amazon likes their martinis shaken and never stirred as its latest acquisition of an iconic spy franchise shows.
And a break from precipitation starts today. And are there more rain chances in the forecast? Well, I'll have that answer coming up.